Job hopping, making career moves in a world with no stability. Welcome to Wisdom from the Porch with GP, where heartfelt stories meet timeless advice. Now let's embark on this journey together, shall we? Let's talk about job hopping, the modern-day career strategy that has recruiters scratching their heads and your grandparents clutching their pearls. Back in the day, people were out here working 30, 40 years at one company, retiring with a pension, and calling it a life well lived. But now, staying at one job for that long feels like trying to win a staring contest with time itself. Outdated, impossible, and maybe a little pointless. These days, job hopping is the new norm. It's like scrolling through Netflix. Nobody sticks around too long if the show just doesn't hit. People aren't hopping jobs for fun. They're doing it because the world of work has changed. Stability isn't guaranteed anymore, and neither is loyalty. The job market can feel like a game of musical chairs where the music stops every 3 months. So if you're wondering if it's okay to move from job to job, or if that voice in your head saying, "Should I stay? Should I go?" has gotten louder recently, then this episode of Wisdom from the Porch is for you. We're diving into what job hopping actually means, how to make career moves that work for you, and why loyalty is overrated when stability doesn't even show up to the party. First off, let's bust a myth. Job hopping doesn't mean you're flaky or uncommitted. It actually means you're paying attention. The rules of the career game have changed, and the old strategy of staying in one place for decades, that's a relic of a different time. Let's paint the picture. Wages have stagnated, cost of living keeps climbing, and the promise of working your way up feels like you're waiting for a bus in the desert. For a lot of people, the only way to make progress, whether it's in salary, skills, or even sanity, is to move on. Job hopping can actually work in your favor. A study from the Bureau of Labor Statistics showed that workers who switch jobs every few years often see significantly higher salary increases compared to those who stay put. It's less about climbing the corporate ladder and more about skipping the rungs that don't serve you. For me, the moment I realized this was during one of my first jobs. I'd put in the hours, the effort, the training, but the raise? A whole 2%. Meanwhile, my friend hopped jobs after a year and landed a 15% salary increase. That's when it hit me. Loyalty isn't always rewarded. Sometimes you have to reward yourself by knowing when to leave. Here's where it gets tricky. Leaving a job is scary. Even when you know it's the right move, there's always that little voice in the back of your head whispering, "What if the next job is worse? What if this makes me look unstable? What if I'm making a mistake?" The fear of the unknown is real, and so is the fear of being judged. Let's face it, there's still a stigma around job hopping, especially when you're explaining it to older generations or potential employers who still buy into the stick it out mentality. And then there's the internal conflict. How do you know when it's the right time to go? Is it just a rough patch, or is it time to pack your bags and move on? For me, this question came up at a job that looked great on paper, but left me drained every day. I kept telling myself, just stick it out a little longer. But how long is a little longer? When does sticking it out become staying stuck? The conflict boils down to this. How do you balance the fear of leaving with the opportunity of what could be next? Job hopping doesn't have to feel like a gamble. With the right mindset and strategy, it can be a powerful way to take control of your career and create the stability that companies no longer guarantee. Here's how to make your career moves count. 1. Know your why. Before you start polishing your LinkedIn profile, ask yourself why you want to leave. Is it about money, growth, burnout, or something else? Getting clear on your reasons will help you identify what to look for in your next role and what to avoid. 2. Make the most of every role. Whether you're at a job for 6 months or 6 years, focus on building skills, relationships, and a track record of impact. When it's time to move on, you'll have tangible accomplishments to back you up. 3. Keep one eye on the future. Job hopping doesn't mean bouncing aimlessly from place to place. It means making intentional moves that align with your goals. Ask yourself, does this next role get me closer to where I want to be? 4. Own your narrative. If you're worried about how job hopping will look on your resume, focus on framing it as a strength. Emphasize what you've learned, how you grew, and why each move made sense for your career path. Employers value adaptability and initiative, so highlight those qualities. And 5, don't wait too long. If your gut is telling you it's time to go, listen. Waiting too long can lead to burnout, resentment, and missed opportunities. Remember, staying in the wrong job out of fear doesn't create stability. It creates stagnation. I remember my last job in corporate America. I had worked my way up to being a production manager, and during the recession of 2008, I got downsized. But when I left, I didn't feel fear. I felt free. That was the moment I decided to invest in myself. I had already been doing side gigs in the creative realm and decided to go to college to actually beef up my resume with a degree. So for 3 years, the plan was to reinvent myself and to do what I wanted to do. To supplement my income during that time, I took a job driving luxury European cars, and I got to see so much of our beautiful country. It was also during that time that I was introduced to voiceover, and I started really looking deep into doing that. And after a few years in 2016, I left that job to become my own boss, and I haven't looked back since. If I had stayed in that corporate mentality mindset that I needed to stay at somebody's job and retire one day, I would have never had the relationships and the opportunities that I've experienced over the last several years because of voiceover. And these have been the best years of my life. The purpose of this episode is simple: to remind you that it's okay to prioritize yourself. Job hopping isn't about being reckless. It's about being intentional. It's about recognizing that loyalty is a two-way street. And if a job isn't serving you, you don't owe it a lifetime of commitment. It's about recognizing that loyalty is a two-way street. And if a job isn't serving you, you don't owe it a lifetime of commitment. If you're feeling stuck or unsure about your next move, take a deep breath. The career world might be unpredictable, but you're not powerless. You have the ability to chart your own path, to make moves that align with your values, and to build a career that works for you. So here's your challenge. Take a good, honest look at where you are right now. Are you growing, learning, and feeling fulfilled? Or are you sticking it out because it feels safer than the unknown? If it's the latter, maybe it's time to start exploring your options, because at the end of the day, your career is yours to shape. And that's our time today. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you'd like to get in touch with me, email me at chatswithgp@gmail.com and follow me on my socials under the name thatbassvoice. And remember, no matter where life takes you, from my heart to yours, keep thriving.